First Amendment crushes California's anti-misinformation law. I mean, what is it about the Democrats and uh, them hating our God-given right, our First Amendment, our freedom of speech? Why do they hate it so much? Why do they try to censor everyone that doesn't think like them? But yet they the main ones talking about how tolerant they are and all this other things, but they aren't tolerant with other people's speech. I mean, it's antithetical to everything this country is about. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my merch store. Also, check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for news as well. All right, let's talk about this news. Attempts by radical Democrats to enforce a dystopian so-called anti-misinformation law in California have been shot down after falling foul of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. And thank goodness someone with some common sense struck this down. But mounting lawsuits against the state over the anti-free speech agenda have now eventually resulted in the law being repealed. The hotly debated law sought to muzzle and punish physicians offering COVID advice to their patients that contradicts the mainstream narrative on treatments. The bill was initially enacted in September 2022 and implemented in January after being signed into law by Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom. However, legal action has now brought the law into an abrupt halt. The law intended to classify COVID misinformation as misconduct in the medical profession, which is just ridiculous how they try to control what doctors believe and see in their own practice. Uh, it authorizes the Medical Board of California to revoke the licenses of healthcare providers deviating from the prevailing scientific viewpoints. Though a federal judge brought the controversial rule to a standstill almost immediately after its enforcement, the extent of its actual application remains nebulous. Governor Newsom offered no remarks upon signing a Senate bill to negate the contentious section of the Business and Professions Code. The repeal should be finalized in January, precisely 1 year after the initial law rolled out. The first lawsuit was initiated in California's Central District by the Liberty Justice Center soon after Newsom rolled out the new law. In the lawsuit, two doctors alleged that the new rule infringed on their constitutional right to free speech and scientific inquiry's fundamental nature. I mean, that's what science is about. You should be able to ask questions, and they didn't want you to ask questions about COVID or the jab. The doctors expressed deeply felt reactions to their victory. In response to the law being repealed, Jacob Hubert, president of Liberty Justice Center, wrote in a statement, quote, "We're glad California repealed this bill before it could spread to other states, and we're proud to have defended our clients' First Amendment rights." Meanwhile, Twitter or X has come under new threats of being blocked in Europe over claims the platform is spreading so-called misinformation. The European Union Commissioner Thierry Breton, an unelected bureaucrat who wields disturbing power to censor the tax-paying public of sovereign nations, wrote the letter to ex-boss Elon Musk with a list of demands. I mean, this is crazy that unelected people have this much power. But Breton ordered Musk to deliver a, quote, prompt, accurate, and complete response to relevant enforcement agencies within 24 hours. And he warned Musk that, quote, "Your platform is being used to disseminate illegal content and disinformation in the EU." This is crazy. I mean, this is crazy that they are trying so hard to censor people. And Breton further warned Musk that if he fails to comply, quote, penalties can be imposed. And Musk fired back at the unelected Eurocrat over the claims. Musk responded by demanding specific details rather than empty claims. And he asked Breton to, quote, List the violations you allude to on X so that the public can see them. And of course, Breton didn't respond to the request because he knows if he has to start pointing out some of the stuff they want them to censor, people can call him out on that, and it'll be a backlash because it's stuff that they don't want people to talk about. It's things that go against the grain, that goes against the EU popular beliefs or whatnot. Anything that goes against the grain and facts that we can throw at these oligarchs, they don't like it, so they try to shut it down. And that's what this whole thing about. They did the same thing with COVID. EU is trying to do the same thing with just regular speech. It's just crazy that more Europeans aren't in an uproar about their free speech being gone. I couldn't imagine living in Europe, having to watch everything I say. It's just ridiculous. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Till next time. Peace.